Welcome to Built-In Boots, the podcast that takes you behind the scenes at the DDS companies, where we're laying the foundation for tomorrow's infrastructure. In each episode, we bring you the real stories from the people who make it all happen, honoring everyone from the field to the front office. Join us as we explore their journeys, uncover the lessons they've learned, and show you how to build a rewarding career in the civil construction industry. If you're ready to learn from those who've built their success from the ground up, you're in the right place. Let's get started.
Hey guys, it's Jordan here, and welcome back to the Built-In Boots podcast. And in today's episode, we're joined by Dan and Josh Coleman from the Broome, Tioga, BOCES Heavy Equipment Program. Dan has been teaching for over 16 years, and what he's built isn't just a classroom, it's a launch pad. From hands-on equipment operation to real-world job placement, this program is truly shaping the future of the construction industry. Mark and Griffin sit down with Dan and Josh to talk about everything from 5th grade excavator camps to full-time careers with contractors. If you're a student, a parent, or someone looking for a real path into the trades, this episode is packed with insights and inspiration. So, without further ado, let's get into it.
Welcome to the Built-In Boots podcast. I'm joined by my co-host, Griffin Haley.
What up?
All right, and we have some friends here from out of town. Griff, do you want to lead into this?
Yeah. So I'm sitting across from Dan and Joshua Coleman from the Broome, Tioga Heavy Equipment BOCES. What's up, guys? How's it going?
That's good.
Good, man. Good. What brings you all this way?
We've worked with you guys for several years with our rodeo, and you've been real supportive of our program. And Mark and I have talked about coming to visit for years, and finally worked out this year. We had some extra time in our schedule, so wanted to come up and check out your training facilities. And I always like to compare notes with other programs doing the same stuff, because you can get great ideas from everybody, and I think it makes the whole picture better for everybody when we all work together. So yeah, I'm always looking for opportunities to check out different places. And
yeah, no doubt. Yeah. When we're at 45 Hendricks Road, so we started out this morning over at our hands-on training facility by the airport, Widener Road there. So we showed them, kind of what day 3, day 4 looks like for NEO process, some of the gas fittings and some of the tools we go over. Speaking on that rodeo, that was impressive coming from somebody who came from a heavy equipment college, but also a BOCES program. When I saw that, I was pretty blown away. And I had gone to school with an individual who went through your program, and he had talked about it. Not to that degree, though. It's a mini Skills USA is what you're putting on there.
Yeah, that's developed since Dan was with us, actually. So we have our rodeo is one of like 8 Wars Day activities going on that day. So we do heavy equipment, but there's also carpentry and Cosmo and culinary. So it's a big event for our whole school.
Nice.
Mm-hmm. And it has developed. This year was year 5. So
wow.
It's come a long way just from that start, and it's a great opportunity for us to have employers come and check out our kids and see what we're doing, and leads to lots of good conversations. And that's really the goal, and get kids talking to employers and helping them find jobs and figure out where they want to go. So
no doubt. And it gives you room and reason for expansion, like you guys have already taken into effect, right? That gives you some fighting ground with the school. We take every opportunity we have to expand and grow and get better. I mean, that's always the goal. And we've been really fortunate the last few years and really moved our program forward quite a bit. And I know Mark didn't get to come down this year, but we have a brand new building outside now to store all our equipment in. Awesome. So it's like 5,000 square feet. Dang. Heat, bathrooms on our job sites now. It's a huge improvement. I'm excited for the winter to have more space to work on equipment, and teaching kids to chain down when it's 10 degrees outside is a job skill. But if we can learn it when it's not 10 degrees and be inside first and then take it outside when they're a little more proficient. There, right? We get a little more attention. So that's new addition's pretty awesome for us too.
Yeah. The last time I was there, it was just an open site, right? We walked out back with a bunch of the advisory board members.
Yep.
I was super excited for you when you guys were able to land the funding and get things done. I think I made the trip down for the announcement, actually, when they announced the funding. And I could see where that was going to benefit your program so much.
Yeah.
You know, the space that you have, you've made the best out of it. But as the equipment gets bigger and the numbers get bigger, you definitely have to have room. You know, you just can't do it without the room.
Right. Yeah. I mean, we've expanded our job site every year for the last 5 years, and we're kind of at capacity as far as the space we have available right now. Mm-hmm. But we actually opened a satellite program as well this year. So now we have another 20 spots for students in Owego at like a totally separate program in heavy equipment, because we've had a waiting list for the 11 years I've taught, and we continue to have a waiting list even with those 20 more seats. So our program just keeps growing, and hopefully the job market keeps growing with it so we can get all these kids jobs once they're done. But right now everything's great, and every year there's more jobs than kids that need jobs for us. So it's a great spot for us to be in. And
I think we should dive in a little bit on that, on the whole wait list thing. A lot of folks out there are like, you know, hey, how do I find these guys? How do I find people in the trades? I talk to people from across the country. I mean, I'm talking to folks out in Massachusetts even, where they don't have programs like ours, or at least we haven't found them yet. They're looking at some big events, some things like careers in construction events and that sort of thing. But what has amazed me, even when I was with the college, was the fact that we had a wait list. We had, in several years, we had to actually shut it off and say, no more applications. There's no way we can even get through all the wait list. Right. And to hear that coming from a high school program, not only does it speak volumes about the program, but the students are seeing that the trades are a real option.
Yeah. And our Broome Tioga BOCES has worked pretty hard over the last 7 to 10 years, I'd say, to make trades an option for students. So last week, we had 4 days of fifth graders visiting us, and every fifth grader in our 17 districts came to visit us. They got to visit 3 trades. So the kids that came to us, we told them about heavy equipment. We let them climb on some equipment. You know, we got them for half an hour. And then we take that to summer camp. We do a fifth grade summer camp as well. So out of all those fifth graders, we take a group of fifth graders that come to camp with us for 2 weeks, and they do 8 trades, 1 each day. And one of them is heavy equipment. And we've had great success with that. And we set up like excavator games, everything spread out, stationary machines, but they get to operate and, you know, run the controls, and they're picking up blocks and putting them in frames and things like that, where we can keep them separated. So they get some exposure to running equipment and lots of other trades as well. And the first year that we did that, those kids are graduating this year. So it's been going on that long. Yeah. And so we have kids that like, oh, I was here in fifth grade, cool. And it's pretty cool. And we have the highest enrollment in CT that we've ever had. And our BOCES is actually expanding. We have, aside from our little project, we have a huge expansion coming to our building in the next couple of years as well, because there's such high demand for trades. And every year we have more kids than seats for our program, and for many of our programs, like we're pretty much full to capacity. So 1,300 students in CT in our building. So,
and that's great to hear. Yeah, that's really awesome to hear. And I understand that Alfred also is expanding, and they're going to add another section of heavy equipment operations this year. So nice. That it all goes hand in hand. And the nice part is that all these students are coming in. They're getting a quality program. You know, I've been around long enough that I've seen people from, you know, come out of that Broome Tioga BOCES program from your predecessor, Mr. Van Wee. Mm-hmm. And, you know, a lot of those students I'm still in contact with, sure. Right? I still talk to those guys, and I'm sure you do too. Mm-hmm. You know, it really does make a huge difference in the community, for the community. I can tell you that the BOCES program that we have in Hornell, it was the same type of deal for me. You know, I went, I think it was fifth grade, maybe sixth grade, went up to an Explorer Day, right? You explored all the trades and everything, did the whole body shop thing, because that's what Dad did, right? Explored that, and I went to heavy equipment. I can still go to the spot. Excuse me.
That's funny, because when I did my walkthrough in sixth grade, I chose cosmetology, body shop, because my dad, cosmetology, I'll leave that up to the listeners. Yep. And then culinary, because
you were a hungry boy.
I was a hungry little child. So, yeah, and I got what I wanted out of all 3 of them.
Yeah, no, sorry about the frog in my throat there. But The really cool thing was I can still walk to the spot where I ran the machine during that 5th grade day. I can walk right back there. I know right where it is. And the coolest part was I went there in 5th grade. I went back there for my junior and senior year, for my 2 years of heavy equipment. I got invited back to teach as a substitute instructor, and then asked to apply to Alfred from my instructor at that BOCES program. He's like, you should apply for this and try this out. And then to go back there during my summers while I was at Alfred and teach adult ed, that was the coolest thing. And there's so many of us that went through those programs. So the effect and the reach is huge. We're the ones that are still around. Some of us have moved on, but some are still around. We're in the community. We're paying taxes. We're, fixing roads. We're doing whatever, right? And we're still doing those trades to this day.
Yeah.
So the effect on the community that a BOCES has, it's just mind-blowing. It's huge.
Right. And everywhere I go, I run into people that came through the program even before me, because Mr. Van Wee, he ran that program for like 42 years.
Right.
So everybody, everywhere I go, material suppliers and contractors, they all have former students working for them now. And I'm 11 years in my teaching heavy equipment, so I run into my former students all over the place as well.
Yep.
And every day I can see the impact that we have, and help a lot of kids find their way. Some of them just don't know what they're going to do next, and a lot of them can figure it out while they're with us, and that's pretty awesome. So
yeah, no, it's great. It's great to have that ability to see, especially to see a student be successful. And in the case of we were talking earlier about Bob Nugent, right? In his case in particular, he was one of Van Wee's guys, I believe.
Yep.
And then he came to Alfred, and he was with me for a couple of years. Every spring, my wife and I will make the trek, and we'll go to his open house in the spring when he has his sugar shack open during Maple Weekend. And my wife always picks on me. She's like, you go down there and you buy maple syrup every year. Why? I'm like, isn't it a fun ride? She's like, well, yeah. And I'm like, we really like Bobby and his family, right? Well, yeah. I'm like, so we get maple syrup every year. What's the problem? You put it on ice cream. You put it on pancakes. It's
useful,
great.
right?
Yeah, it's useful. I can think of worse things to spend my money on, right? So, but the thing is, like, the whole cycle and seeing a student come through, seeing them be successful. Bobby still works in the community. He has a small family farm. He's still doing the maple thing. And now having kids of his own and everything else. I mean, I don't know. That's rewarding to me. I don't know how you feel, but
hey, so I've been teaching at BOCES 16 years. So I taught building trades first and then heavy equipment for 11 years. And this year I had a student from my first year call me because his son, he had his son in high school, his son was looking at programs and how does he get him into my program? So it's pretty cool to, have kids of my students come back around. And this year, my own son is, who's here with us is going to head into our program this year. So that's pretty cool too, that he is interested and kind of wants to come through, and, there's so many opportunities that it's hard to.
16. So you've been having the inside track of all the toys and everything for the last 11 years, going in summer and playing.
Yeah, he tests my 5th grade. Back in the day when we started 5th grade summer camp, Josh was like our test subject. Like, hey, can you do this? Like, So he tested out all those.
Yeah, the benchmarker.
Yes, to make sure it was all possible. And
yeah, that's so cool. That's where it starts,
Yeah.
Especially even if you don't, whatever, even if you take over it or take and go into the trades with something. Is that what you're thinking?
I'm thinking I'm probably going to go into the trades.
Yeah. Operating.
Operate for a couple of years. And I think I might want to move into like a safety or management kind of role, because I'm always been a little more careful and safety oriented.
Yeah. That's awesome. That definitely is a calling.
it sure is.
Yeah.
I mean, the safety side of it, you really have to have the passion. And, really a lot of that passion, it's very similar to like what you and I share as far as, we want to take care of people. We want to see them succeed. And I feel like safety professionals have that same kind of feeling. So, yeah,
100%. So what is your program, Dan? What kind of equipment do you run there? What's the curriculum look like? Are they just going free will and just running equipment, digging ditches, making holes? What are they doing?
So, we start off with equipment for familiarization is where we start, right? So at the beginning of their first year, we have a 2-year program. So we have juniors and seniors in high school. They spend half a day with us throughout their 2 years. So we have a lot of contact time with our students. So when they come in as a first year, we, after the first week of real general safety stuff, we take them outside and we assign the second years to each piece of equipment. And we have a variety of equipment, mostly smaller excavators, bulldozers, loaders, skid steer. We have a couple trucks, and we assign second years to the equipment, and the first years rotate through, and first they learn all the pre-trip and basic controls. And then we set up our excavator games similar to the stuff we do for fifth graders and for the rodeo. And our goal in that first 2 weeks is to get kids in machines, get them operating some just to see if it's for them, because we have such demand and we have a waiting list. So I don't want a kid to figure out in December that he doesn't like this.
Right.
I want him to figure it out right away, because we have 17 or 20 programs. There's lots of options. If you don't like this, let's find something you do like right off the bat, so we can get kids in that really want to be there too. So we do that for the first couple weeks with our first year students. And after that, they go in the shop for a bit. So I co-teach with another teacher, Mr. Oakley. He runs the shop. I run outside. And the operation portion, he does all the maintenance and repair stuff. And he does all the shop basics, so lifts, and we run them through a whole variety of shop topics as well.
Preventative maintenance.
Yeah, we do PM, tires, brakes, some electrical soldering. We do a little welding, torching, all that kind of stuff. And then eventually they get into like hydraulic systems, electrical systems. As they get into their second year.
So it's like a diesel program it's like a light diesel.
Yeah, it's not. We don't rebuild motors. On a regular basis. We have rebuilt motors just because we needed them done, and we have Mr. Tuttle in our shop as well, who is really good at those bigger projects. And so the kids flip flop every 5 weeks. Mr. Oakley and I trade students. So throughout their 2 years, they spend half their time operating, half their time in repair, because regardless of what track they end up on, operators are better if they have a basic understanding of the mechanics, and the mechanics are better when they have a basic understanding of the operation.
100%.
So it works out for everybody. And I will say that, anecdotally, 90% of our kids come to us because they want to be operators.
Right.
And by the time they graduate, I bet it's a lot closer to 50-50. Some kids just are more inclined towards the mechanics.
Yep.
And once they get into it, they realize that. And we have great job placement on that side of it as well. So there's so many options out there right now for our kids that they can kind of do what they want. Once they get through, there's great opportunities on both sides. So.
And that's so cool. And that's what happened to me too. I had a diesel program at my BOCES, and the first year I went, there was a heavy equipment program that had just started. I had met the instructor for the diesel side and liked him so much that I just stuck with that. And thankfully we had a 3-month portion of operating. So I went the other way. I was going to be a mechanic, and I was like, you know what? I think I can get paid a little bit more if I sit in this seat instead of work on it,
Right?
So it is funny how that works. And it just gets you out there. For me, being in high school, I think the biggest thing too is it gives you, at that point, I had already had quite a few jobs, but for some people, it's that responsibility. When you come to a BOCES or vocational schooling, it's level of respect you don't quite find at like a normal school between you and your students to you generally, I would say, because I remember feeling that and feeling like an adult the first time I went there. And then with that, if you mess up, you're talked to like an adult rather than sometimes like a student, which for some can be helpful, like myself, so, but no, that's awesome. It really is a very cool program. Like I said, I remember getting turned on to it through Mark and through DDS, but actually I crashed our drone there last year. Not this year. Remember, I was getting some sick shots of, and then instead of I don't think you guys, this is for the listener too. I had just gotten the drone from Mark, like just gotten it, and I was doing shots, and I crashed it into a tree where you guys do the pushing the tire with the dozer,
right?
And so I was getting a pano shot of that, and I'm coming around, and the kids are watching me, So I'm like, yeah, it's no big deal. I'm pretty good at this, and all I see is the camera go up in the sky, and I look where I thought it was, and I see leaves falling out of the tree. So I go and pick it up, and the arms ripped off of it and stuff, and $900 drone. So I went home, stopped in Elmira on my way home, and I found a drone repair store, picked up blades, a motor, and a new arm, and I was soldering all night trying to put the drone back together so that when I could tell Mark, I told him, hey, I broke it, but don't worry, I fixed it too. Yeah.
Well, after the cool videos you got me last year, I actually bought a used drone this year, and I've used it a ton in teaching. It's awesome to take videos, even in 1 week's time. When this year we had a lot of extra fill because of the construction project that was happening at school. So I raised the grade on the lower end of our job site, 8 feet. And in 1 week's time, the changing the pile and just having drone pictures on a regular basis was such a good teaching tool for our kids to see the change, and they liked seeing themselves operating and stuff. It was pretty cool too. So
once you hear that,
after you guys gave me some videos, I'm like, oh, I got to do this. So.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And for how inexpensive they can be.
Yeah.
I used it when we had our CDL program. I would park it above my cones, and then, not that I was a master, but once I got my parking done, I would record that so I could show each a bird's eye view. You know what I mean? Because for me, I'm a visual learner. It helps, rather than trying to listen to somebody like myself explain something.
Right.
God bless, But no, that's awesome.
Yeah, the drone piece was huge. When I asked around, I was looking for a drone for something, and I asked around, and the person that was here in the survey department at the time, he's like, I think I have one just in my truck. If you need it or if you want it. And I'm like, yeah, I would love to get some photo and stuff like that, some video with it. And he's like, yeah, we've got something else now. We're doing something different. Here it is. And he walks in. Here you go. Cool. So I started going out to civil jobs and stuff, and I'm doing drone shots. We did a bus garage project, and
Penfield?
Yeah, Penfield. And I went up there and I did some time lapse. I went once a month to do it. And then I did some video while they were pushing stone out and stuff like that. Some of the operators, and the operators had never seen themselves operate before, right? They're old school operators. And I'm flying along this, I'm right next to a 700 John Deere, and they're going right along doing their thing. A few minutes later, I show him on the phone. I'm like, hey, check this out. And he's looking, he's like, oh, that's awesome. That's so cool. But we started doing that. I did that with some of the Gas D guys too. They were doing services, and they had dug a trench up to a house, and they were working in that trench. So I'm over top of the house, and I actually flew it up and over the house and down the trench up to the main. It was a lot of fun. We got some really cool stuff out of it. And then our professional guys showed up with their drone.
Blew us out of the water. Now we're not even
I was done.
Right?
I was done.
It's just
I was all done at that point. I mean, I thought I was doing I got the cinematic sunrise one day with a vast landfill.
Yeah.
I thought I was into it. And then those guys show up, and I'm like, okay, I give.
Our land survey department has LiDAR ones.
Yeah.
So they take it and they can do everything. I mean, they don't even need to leave their car anymore.
Right.
It's
they fly over the pile and tells them how many yards.
It's incredible.
Yep.
Yeah. So what do you got next, Griff? What's on your mind?
What's on your mind, monkey butt?
All right. Well, here. Hopefully we can get that.
I think we can cut that one.
So here's the next thing.
I got.
When it came to having students come into a business or something like that, for me, when I was instructing, I always wanted to kind of have an idea of where I was telling my guys to go, right? And have an idea of what they could expect. Because, well, frankly, the student's going to ask you, hey, what have you heard about these guys? What do you know about these guys? What can I expect?
Mm-hmm.
I think that taking time to have instructors from various programs come in and just spending the time and walking you through it. It's a lot different than me standing in your classroom with 40 guys running around and trying to explain it to you there, right? I mean, at least you're seeing it.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's, so for me, like, as far as getting kids out to jobs, it was, I came for residential construction. I was doing house sites, and we were doing clearing land to finish trim. So I was not in the heavy highway stuff before I started teaching. But I went to school for civil engineering, which I didn't make it through, but I have lots of friends who did and are in this world. So, I get lots of company information from those people. And through the 11 years, I built up lots of relationships with companies because my kids need jobs, and those are all over the place. So, and then we have companies that come in and speak to our students, which is huge, just to give them some idea of what the real world looks like beyond our class. But because there's so many different opportunities and different classes or different jobs that are related to our program, it's pretty easy to help a kid figure out some different ideas, and I have kids that come in and they just want to be farmers, which is great. And around us, there's some big farms, and, a lot of those kids already have relationships. So they go on co-op their senior year. Instead of coming to class, they go to work. That's what they want to do. We support that, and we have a great co-op program so our kids can go to work instead of being in class, and they get paid while they're in high school. It's a great program. And then, we have kids we have 2 kids that worked for Peterbilt this year and got hired on full-time afterwards. And those were, sometimes kids come in and this is where I want to be, but that was like Peterbilt said, we want a kid. We had 4 kids interview. 2 of them were standouts. They said, you know what, we're going to take them both. And they took them both in the dealership. They rotated them through all the jobs in the dealership. And one of them is turning wrenches, and the other one is like service rep. He answers the phone and sets up service and does scheduling for them. That's awesome. They just found these, who would have thought that was a job, and for them, for high school kids, but they're successful and got offered great jobs right out of school. And they were like our student spotlight for the Career Development Center this year, those 2 kids, because that co-op went really well for them. But we try and give kids a variety of options and talk to different employers just so they can see what their options are. We work as close as we can with as many contractors as we can. So even though they're all competitors with each other, they still have common needs, and we try and find the answer for them.
That's crazy.
Yeah. The whole competitor side of it, just from my seat, at the end of the day, we're all trying to look for the same thing. Yeah. And the big differentiating factor, I think, is culture and what somebody wants to do, right? Like what actually fits. And if it's a fit, it's a fit. And if it's not, that's okay.
Right.
There's some place. Yeah. There's always some place.
And I've had kids go out on co-op and it's not a good fit. And that's the great thing about our co-op program, that everybody has an easy out, right? It's like an educational experience. We have a job at work advisor that's kind of an intermediary there too, to address issues. And I've had kids come back from co-op and go out on a different co-op. Like they went out in a shop that wasn't for them, come back, and now they're working for a paving contractor, and they stayed there. Like they graduate and they stay in paving and they like it. That's great. Yeah. Everybody wins. So
I did my co-op at a Lamb & Webster's agricultural dealership.
Okay. That's awesome.
That dude.
We actually have one down near us now.
It was in Springville, New York. When you say miserable people, holy smokes. I'm a bit over excited a lot of the times, and I'm a lot to handle, but these guys were rough, man. I learned about, I don't know if I should say this, maybe I'll cut this. I learned about unions, and I remember getting approached by a 72-year-old gentleman. Like, he should have been retired. And he came up to me, and again, morning BOCES. So I only had a couple hours to go and work for him. I was splitting a tractor, And he came up and tapped me with a crescent wrench. And he said, if you do not take your break and they see that, they're going to make us work. So I learned real quick, because it was a union shop. It was the, union coffee, the whole nine. Oh, boy. 9:30 till 9:45. We were in that coffee room drinking mud. And then after that, it was work. Take another lunch at about 11:30 to 12. 3:15 coffee break, out the door at 5. Holy smokes, man. The only nice guy there was a fella, I don't remember his name, but he was missing his leg from his quad down. He worked on all the lawnmowers, and he had one of those mechanic seats with every tool he needed was under him. So he'd roll around with his run good leg, and he'd reach around working on lawnmowers, doing services. Anyways, I get distracted sometimes, but it showed me, I knew 100% if I was going to be a mechanic, I wasn't going back to that shop. Cause it just wasn't your thing.
Not the culture you're looking for.
It made me, to be honest, it probably turned me away from turning wrenches for a little bit too, and it's just, the environment was terrible.
But it's better to know that ahead of time before you had a mortgage and everything else.
I was living with mom and dad. Yeah. I didn't have to go to school. That was the nice part in the morning, and I was getting paid.
I tell my kids all the time that I'm the nicest boss you're ever going to have. So if you can't deal with me, this is probably not the field for you.
Right. Yeah.
And, I learned lots of stuff the hard way. Like I got into heavy equipment because the excavator that dug our house sites needed help. And my boss rented me out to this one-man operation. And I'm still friends with Jim, even now. Right. Yeah. But man, if you did it wrong, you found out really quick. And, when I was working for him, I got to run some excavator, which is great. One day he's like, hey, go get our bulldozer. Was 2 house sites over. He's like, go get the bulldozer, bring it over here. I said, well, I've never run that. He's like, oh, you'll figure it out. Go ahead. So I walk over there. I get it started. I get it over there. By the time I'm there, he's screaming at me because I was doing something wrong and I'm going to burn out the clutches. And I'm like, Jim, I said, I don't know what I'm doing. Right. You said, you'll figure it out. How about you tell me what I'm doing wrong? But he was, and my kids just, I'm pretty easygoing guy. And sometimes we have hard conversations, but it's never screaming at them. And that's as good as it gets as far as I'm concerned in heavy construction.
Yeah, 100%.
So
100%. All right. Well, 100%. If we want to put a ribbon on this, let me ask you some lightning round questions. All right. Lightning fast.
Oh, here we go.
So what's one machine every student loves before they even walk in the door? What do they want to run?
I think every one of our kids runs excavators.
It scoops the dirt. It throws the dirt, right? The scoop-a-la-digala, as you will. All right. What's the biggest mistake or misconception a new student would make coming into your class?
I feel like the kids that are overconfident that come in thinking they already know everything is the biggest hurdle that we have to overcome sometimes.
What? We have that problem too, Mark.
No.
That's so funny.
Stop.
That's funny. It's universal. How about the best advice for a young person who wants to get into our trade?
Do it. There's so many opportunities. There's so many different opportunities. If you can come through a BOCES, you can learn so much and find so many opportunities. And if that's not the path for you when you get out of high school, look at your options because there are some great options in the trade. So
no doubt.
Without going into debt to get there. So
that's the key. Yeah. Right. Little Dave Ramsey.
Yeah.
Salt and pepper shaker on there.
College is great. It just may not be for everybody.
Oh, I was telling them earlier, I wouldn't have had my first job. I wouldn't have had my second or this job right now in this field without having gone to Alfred. And that's just for me. I'm, case by case, but
I went to college and failed out twice. So at community college, and I still figured out to get where I want to go. Right. And I have those conversations with parents sometimes that still have that college mindset. I'm like, maybe, but if they don't want to do it, you're going to spend a lot of money to not get where you want to be.
Exactly.
And there's other options here. So
100%. All right. Finally, where do you see the Broome Tioga program going and where do you want it to go? We can cut this if
it's,
don't give them the easy out.
I can give you, all right, we'll start that from the top. Ready?
Go ahead.
All right. Final question. Holy smokes. All right. Hold on. We'll start it again. Sorry, Jordan. All right. Final question. What's next for Broome Tioga BOCES heavy equipment program?
We're always looking to expand and get bigger. And to try and keep up with the jobs that are out there. So, the one place I think we're always looking at is GPS, because everybody seems to be running GPS and we're just not there yet. But the price point's coming down to something more reasonable for us. Mm-hmm. So I'm hoping that we can get into GPS, and I'm also hoping we can get back to CDLs, because that was a great program we had. And I think there's a lot of opportunities there for our kids, and we still train on CDLs, but we can't help them get their license right now.
Right.
But I hope eventually we can get back into that as well.
To that effect, if I saw an application come across my desk that had a CDL and someone without a CDL but comparable skills, the one with the CDL is getting the interview all day long. You know what I mean? So that's such a huge help if that does get pushed through and be able to happen.
This is a concern for my kids too. Like, they're worried that if they get their CDL, then you're going to want them to drive a truck every day.
See, that was what Dan McDonald told me. So what is in the water down there that everybody, that's not.
I don't tell kids that. And it depends.
Right.
Some companies, that's absolutely true.
100%.
And some companies are like, no, it's great for operators, because you can give them a truck and a trailer and a machine. They can go do a job and come back without having an extra guy.
And I'm talking F-350, because an F-350 and 7-ton trailer, even empty, is illegal for a non-CDL driver.
Yeah.
And that's what construction companies across America seem to not understand. Not just New York.
Yeah, it's all over. But for us, in the utility side of the business, our most common excavator is like a 303.5. Right?
It works 4 hours a day.
Yeah, and the machine only runs 3 or 4 hours a day, if that. They go, they put in the ditch, and now they spend the rest of the day joining the pipe, doing air tests.
Our best operators run that machine right there and that 28 machine right over there.
Gotcha.
They do, and they teach the younger ones. So but with that effect, they're me coming from the civil background wouldn't necessarily be the first to jump and dig right next to a live gas main either. I would save that for a Rusty Jock or an Andy Ghana. You know what I mean? Someone who's
the guys that
been doing it forever.
Yes.
And
And look, even with all the years that I've got, I wouldn't do that either. I would defer. I've got some guys here that I would rather have operate for me.
You make some calls,
right?
You know, sometimes you just got to know when to.
You got to know when to hold them. Know when to fold them.
Now at Widener Road, it's game on. There's no gas in that main. I'm right there.
Rip them in and tear them.
Yeah.
We always tell our kids that they're going to run a shovel before they run an excavator, no matter how good they are when they come from us.
And dude, that's the best way to learn. Because I was an operator. Like, I could pull the levers when I left Alfred, but I didn't know the difference between topsoil and dirt. I didn't know how to separate those two. That's seriously.
Yeah.
Given I'd went 1 year and probably didn't pay attention all that much anyways, but it took me almost a full year to actually wrap my head around, look at these little movements he's making, that one bucket as he scoops to backfill, then he swipes in the rest of his pile. It's no wasted movements.
Right.
Yeah, that was huge.
We talk about that loading trucks, right? They back the truck up to the pile. We bench load a lot with an excavator just because it keeps everybody busy, right? And we haul dirt on our job site, but they always have a stack of dirt at the tailgate, and then they want to make extra movements to push the dirt forward in the truck, which I'm glad they're trying to make more room in the truck, but eventually I can convince them that they can take a full scoop of dirt, set it in the truck, and when they dump the dirt,
do it even.
It falls out at the same time, and you can do it in one stroke instead of making all these extra movements.
Right.
And that's something I got a drone video of finally.
That's awesome.
So they could see the difference.
That's awesome.
But there's always those little moments for them that
100%. And you like we've been talking about, you guys are about as close, especially not being a collegiate place, a college. You're as close to the real world as these kids are going to get without going and getting a job.
Right.
And I would, comparable to Alfred. From what I've seen and what I've experienced at Alfred is very comparable.
The students that come out of your program and go to Alfred are a leg up over a lot of others.
Yeah.
Glad to hear it.
And they do really well. They're right on point. And the cool thing with Alfred, what I always talk to my guys about there was, hey, you came here for this degree. Yes, we're going to start out with some basics that you probably already know, and you're going to be ahead here. However, we're going to get into some other things and give you some other experiences. It's the experience piece, right?
Sure. And Alfred gets does less mechanics than we do, but they get more into like estimating. I think they do more surveying and job management kind of stuff that we don't do at all. Right. So that's what I tell my kids when they ask,
Construction management light in the heavy equipment program. And then if you want to do the 2+2 and get into the heavier CM, you can do that. And we have some guys that are actually working for us right now, especially out in Albany, that are in that program.
Gotcha.
They come to us during the summer. We work with them during the summer. Yeah. They go back to Alfred. They come in a little bit early.
Yeah. Shouts out Adam Winter and Connor Compton.
Right. Connor and Adam.
Jason
Gore.
Gore.
Yeah.
Yeah. Big boy.
Yeah, big boy.
Yeah. Bubba.
But
I know you're
those guys, they're rocking it out. They're killing it. They're doing the 2+2. And on top of that, I mean, you've got one guy that's an awesome archer, and you've got the other guy that is a killer diver, right?
Yeah. Literally like national competing archer and diver.
Wow.
Yeah. Like Freaks Connor's a diver. He actually got recruited to Alfred. Through the instructor of the heavy equipment program, who's the diving coach.
Wow.
And dude, he had like a twofer. He goes, wait, this guy likes equipment and he's a diver? Yeah. Nick Beach shouts out. And then Adam Winter, he was going to compete in Kentucky for nationals.
I believe
before his NEL.
It's in Louisville.
Yeah, it was through Alfred.
Yeah. Nice. So, crazy. I mean, those guys are killing it. But, again, the tie, and we can talk about this all day long, the tie between the BOCES programs and folks going out in the trades and being successful, it's there.
Yeah, it's 2 and 2, right?
Yeah.
They go hand in hand 100%.
And I think a lot of the other states in the nation, this is like the hidden gem that New York State has that a lot of other places just don't see. And I think they're starting to realize, hey, we're missing the boat on this. And you're seeing it in other parts of the country, other states. Georgia is one where they've partnered with a lot of the contractors to build their heavy equipment programs in the high schools at the high school level. And it's really cool. Like their CW Matthews, shout out to those guys. They are killing it in that realm where they've got, rodeos and they've got, actual final exams that go along with this, and they're running all this large scale equipment. I mean, it's big. Strack is another one that's doing a really bang up job on that and bringing guys in and helping to get that next generation started, especially in the heavy civil side. Yeah, so 100%. On the utility side, hey, we happen to run equipment every once in a while, but putting pipe in the ground is kind of our big claim to fame.
That's right. Well, thank you, Dan and Josh, for coming out and sitting down and talking with us, telling us, about your program. Hopefully we'll get you on another episode later down the line. Mark, thank you for gracing us with your presence and your time.
Stop it.
You just, by you being here, make me feel better.
Yeah, okay. I'm glad I can provide that comfort factor for you.
Don't forget to rate, review, and comment anywhere you get this podcast.